Hi Gemini, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel, and this is your October 2020 tarot reading. Thanks to those of you who've liked, viewed, shared, subscribed, donated to the channel. I appreciate all of that. Regarding personal readings, I'm actually still taking a break from those. If I start them up again, though, I'll make an update in the community section of the channel. As far as what we have in front of us, it's a Celtic cross spread as always. I also pulled a couple of Oracle cards and a Mudra card for you guys, so we'll get started with the main spread. All right, in the main situation position, we have the Eight of Swords. So this is actually a Gemini energy, represents the first 10 degrees of Gemini. So could just be saying that you guys are really just focused on yourselves this month. But also what came to my mind seeing this card, and it's not always what comes to mind when I see this card, but it totally does resonate with the overall image. But the vibe that I got with this card is to say it's not that deep, right? So what I mean by that as far as it vibing with the artwork is she's blindfolded, right? She can't necessarily see what's around her. And if she were to step her foot into that water, she doesn't know if that's a puddle like we look and see it is, right? She doesn't know if that's a puddle, a lake, or what, right? So she doesn't know, okay, if I keep moving forward, am I going to fall in or what? So I feel like that's the main theme for you guys this month, which is you could just really be overthinking a situation and possibly seeing it as a little bit worse off than it actually is. And it could just be saying that you need to trust. And even if you do have to take small steps forward, I feel like it's saying that you should still continue to move forward. Now, this can be due to the fact that, at the time recording this, we're in Virgo season, which that's the other sign ruled by Mercury, like you guys. So, that's an area of your chart where you could be a little bit more self-focused. And then also, Mercury's going to go retrograde in October in the sign of Scorpio, which is your sixth house, which is another area where you could be a little bit self-critical. So it could just be one of those things where, you could just be looking at things from a slightly more pessimistic point of view. All right, in the challenger obstacle position, we have the King of Swords and the Lovers. So this is actually your major arcana card right here, and then this is actually Aquarius energy. And with these two cards together, it could just be saying that for a lot of you, if this is around love relationships, for example, it could just be saying that, what could be blocking you from that deeper, more meaningful connection could just be the fact that you're really getting stuck in your head over a situation, maybe overanalyzing it, overthinking it, right? Now, if this isn't necessarily around a romantic relationship, it could just be saying that for some of you, this might even be, for example, around career. Maybe you're feeling like you're stuck in your career, and you could just be coming to a realization that in order to get to that place you want to be, some of you might be realizing that you might need to go back to school, right? Maybe get a higher level of education. Now, I say that not just because this is the King of Swords, which will represent a higher elevation as far as the sword suit goes, but also because this being Aquarius energy, that represents your ninth house of higher education. So that could be what it is for some of you. You could just be realizing, okay, I can't really get to where I want to go with the current level that I'm at. I might need to go back to school to do so, right? So maybe you're a bit trapped in your head, like, okay, is that really the best move? How would I go about doing it? So that could be what's on your minds as well. Okay, in the foundation position, we have the Hermit. Major Arcana energy for Virgo. Ten of Swords, more Gemini energy. And the Ace of Cups. So we're already talking about the fact that, like I said, at the time recording this, we're in Virgo season. The Mercury retrograde is going to be in your sixth house, which is the house that Virgo naturally rules. So there's definitely some of those themes that are going to be playing out for you. But again, I feel like this is a bit like that Eight of Swords energy, as far as I feel like this is showing you withdrawing, going inward, right? Again, really thinking something through. Now, the good situation I see here with this being the Ten of Swords, moving from the 8 to the 10, normally you wouldn't say good when you see Ten of Swords, right? But the card that immediately follows that is the Ace of Cups. So to me, this is representing more of an ending of that energy. And for a lot of you, I feel like this is an ending to overthinking something and then actually moving on to a fresh start. Now, like I said, for some of you, this could definitely be love, given that we saw the Lovers in the challenge position, and now we see the Ace of Cups here. But again, it could just be around creativity and work as well. So I don't want to say it's just a love thing for you guys, but yeah, that's what I'm seeing there. And it's worth noting too with this Ten of Swords, one of the original tarot decks actually has the Ten of Swords, but the artwork is slightly different. It looks a lot more like the Ten of Wands, where instead of the swords being in the person's back, they're actually just carrying all 10 swords. So to me, that's what I'm thinking of when I'm seeing this in this context, which is just saying that you guys have just really overthought something. Looks like you're going to be coming out of that energy this month, though, and moving forward. All right, in the past position, we have the Queen of Cups and the Ten of Wands. So we were just talking about the Ten of Wands there, where, like I was saying, in one of the tarot decks I have, the Ten of Swords looks a lot more like this, where the guy's just carrying the 10 swords. To me, represents the overthinking energy. Now, with these two cards, this represents Cancer energy. So for some of you, it could be, like I said, where I feel like you could just be a little bit closed off around your love lives, maybe overthinking things, having a little bit of that fear about opening up. Again, sitting right on the edge of water, right? Almost like she is in the Eight of Swords there. And then this is the only card in the cup suit that actually has the cup covered up. So again, to me, that represents that possibly being closed off emotionally. And then that Ten of Wands, to me, says that it's saying that this has probably been a process for you guys. You probably have spent a long time really evaluating, okay, how do you want to move forward in your love life, right? Maybe this is even something that you've carried with you. Failed relationship, for example, given that this is Sagittarius energy, and this represents the last 10 degrees of Sagittarius. This could even go back as far as when you guys had Saturn moving through your opposite sign, right? Maybe you had a marriage fail, for example, or just a real long-term relationship. And you could just still be holding on to that. Not necessarily that person, but just really still trapped in your head, like, okay, where did it go wrong? Why did it go wrong? How did it go wrong, right? All to try to avoid repeating that. But with the Ten of Wands here, I feel like this is saying you've been through that, you're good to go. So, I know easier said than done, right? But I feel like that's what it's saying there, is you just have to trust that you've already integrated what you were supposed to learn from those situations in the past and you're ready to move forward. Present position, we have the Star, so more Aquarius energy here. And for you guys, that's your 9th house, like I was saying. But this often represents a wish fulfillment as well. I always point out to people that this is the card that comes after the Tower card in the tarot as well. So for some of you might have gone through a Tower moment, which to me is usually I represent that is the ego death, right? This being the dissolution of ego. And this represents being back on that right path. So like I said, if there was some kind of a failure that you went through in the past, right? Maybe it was actually a bit of a course correction for you guys, but now you just have to trust and actually see that, okay, now you're actually ready to go. Hit the reset button, right? We see a lot more openness with the emotions there as well. Like we said, that Eight of Swords, that fearfulness when her toe touched the water. Here we see sitting on the edge, right? Here this person looks a lot more comfortable and confident dealing with that water. So if we look at that as emotions, right, I feel like you guys just could be getting a lot more comfortable within that element. Trying to see what else comes to mind. Well, and then also we have the fact that the ruler of Aquarius is Uranus, and that's in your 12th house too, which is a water house, Piscean house. So this could just be stuff that you guys have really held on to for a long time, might have been getting in your way for a long time as well. But I see this as forward movement there. And also for some of you, like I said, if maybe you're realizing you need to go a different route as far as higher education, possibly as far as your career goes, it looks like there could definitely be some positive movement there as well. All right, in the near future position, we have the Nine of Cups. So this is a card that's often also referred to as a wish card in a tarot, but for me, what this really represents more than anything is it's that contentment, right? Usually when you're happy with what you have to bring to the table, right? That's what we see there with his body language. It looks like he's proud of what he has behind him. These could represent experiences that you've had emotionally, right? All kinds of different things, but once you're usually happy with where you're at, that can draw more things to you. So, that's how I usually see this card playing out more than anything. The only cautionary thing there too is to just be mindful of the fact that if we look at his facial expression as well, he looks a little bit smug. So could just be saying that, don't be too prideful and, just expect everything to fall into your lap. But just understand that, okay, yes, in a way you've paid your dues, and that opens the door for more opportunity to come your way. But at the same time, if it does come your way, don't, expect people to bend over backwards for you too, basically. So that's what I see there. And this is actually Pisces energy, which for you guys is your 10th house. So this can be some career success that you guys are seeing as well. All right, in the position of your influence in a situation, we have the Page of Wands. So definitely some positive progression here as far as the Eight of Swords is a very stuck energy. We had the Ten of Wands in the past position. The card that would follow the Ten of Wands would be the Page of Swords, right? So I feel like you guys are hitting a reset in a way. Might have been a long overdue reset, quite frankly, but it looks like one that you're actually finally ready to take action on, finally ready to move forward with. So definitely looks like some positive energy there. For some of you, you might be traveling long distances. That could also be what this ninth house energy we're seeing is about. So for some of you, could be around that, and maybe it was even just all of the travel restrictions that might have had you feeling like you were a bit stuck, right? Maybe you had plans to go international, maybe study abroad, for example, things along those lines, and it's like, okay, all of the uncertainty in the world, you haven't been able to do so. So maybe you're getting a little bit of a green light to do that at this time, but regardless, I see this as a positive maneuver there on your part. In the environment position, we have the Four of Cups. This can represent another person, but for a lot of you, I really feel like this is pointing to your energy that you've been in for a while. And like I said, I do feel like you will be coming out of that, but I feel like this is just saying that you might have been stuck in this energy for a long time. This could be around finances for some of you, given that this is Cancer energy, and that is your second house of finances. We did have a Mercury retrograde there earlier this year, and like I said, next we're going to have that Mercury retrograde again in October, but this time in Scorpio. So, maybe there's some forward movement there. And also the fact that we're going to have that Libra energy that's going to make a square to where that Mercury retrograde took place. So, could just be looking at a situation again. And I feel like if that's the case, if it is something from back around Cancer season, let's say, I feel like now you're actually going to see it from a bit more of a positive perspective and possibly be more likely to move on it this time around, whereas before you might not have appreciated what was in front of you. All right. And I do have to say, though, to be fair, because this is the environment position, right? So if this does represent another person, this could just be saying that, for example, maybe you shut them out for a while and because you were going through what you were going through, right? So let's look at it that way. If you shut them out for a while because you were going through what you were going through and maybe not communicating that to them, which could definitely be the case given that we have the King of Swords in the challenge position, the Hermit, not the most forthright energies, right? So if you were just going through what you were going through, not very communicative around it, and now you're coming out of that, right, with the Star, with the Nine of Cups, which we definitely see, the Page of Wands. It looks like there's a pretty clear progression there saying that you're coming out of something and moving forward. But this person just might not know quite how to take that at this time. So they might be like, okay, well, that's great that now you want to move forward, but I don't necessarily have to jump just because now all of a sudden you're ready to move forward, right? So just understand that's the case. It might just take them a little bit of time to come around. I don't necessarily feel like you should push it. So, if you reach out to them, get a little bit of a lukewarm reception, I wouldn't necessarily just say keep pushing forward with that. Let's give it a little time and see how things progress. In the hopes or fears position, we have the Five of Wands and the Eight of Cups. So, interestingly enough, we have more Pisces energy here, like we had there, which is 10th house career for you guys, and seeing the Five of Wands there, which is Leo energy. Could just be saying that maybe that's what it is for some of you too. Maybe the career environment you're in might be a little bit, could be a bit catty of an environment, right? Maybe you just feel like, okay, there's always some drama and that's what you're wanting to leave behind. But again, like I said, you feel like, okay, well, this is the best I can do for the time being. If I want to get out of this job, I'm going to need to, like I said, go back to school or maybe get some kind of a certification to go to the next level up within the same company, things along those lines. So it could just be saying that you're hoping to leave that behind. And if there's been let's say if there's been dramatic communication around the connection you've been in, this could just be saying you're hoping to leave that behind as well, right? With that Eight of Cups energy. So I don't necessarily see indicators of these energies playing out, so I feel like this is definitely just more something that's on your mind. You want that drama-free connection, don't we all, right? Just ready to move forward from that and seek something more fulfilling. And given that we do, like I said, see the Nine of Cups in the near future position, it looks like you're on your way toward that anyway, so that's a good thing. All right, and in the outcome position, we have the Four of Wands and the Four of Pentacles. So, almost exact opposite energies in a way, right? This Four of Wands energy here represents Aries energy, and actually this is basically where Aries is going to be, where Mars, rather, is going to be spending a lot of time going through that retrograde that started recently. So, could be some connection to that. And then with the Four of Pentacles representing Capricorn energy, we have Pluto there. We also have Saturn there. And Mars will be making tense aspects with those planets. So could be pointing to those energies there. Could just be saying that you feel a little bit of that push-pull as far as, on one hand, you feel like everything is happening for you, given that Aries is your 11th house, and Aquarius being the natural ruler of the 11th house could be a connection there where you're seeing some of your hopes and dreams come true now, but you might still be a little bit, hesitant to really believe that that's a long-term thing, right? So you could just be like, all right, when's this going to end, So just try to be a bit more optimistic, understandable, because all those Capricorn energies we're talking about are in your 8th house, which is pretty intense energy. But yeah, I would say similar to what I said when we first talked about that Eight of Swords, it's not that deep, not to totally push aside what you're going through and what you're feeling, but I just feel like it's saying that just try to trust a little bit more, be a little bit more open. Things, especially if you see things going your way in a positive way, I don't think you should expect that that's a short-term thing that's going to turn around and totally, throw you for a loop. So that's what I'm seeing there with those two cards. And then at the bottom of the deck, we have the King of Wands. So this is Leo energy, and trying to think, Venus, at the time I'm recording this, Venus is in Leo. I think pretty early on in October, it's going to move on into Virgo, but yeah, could be pointing to that, that is your house communication. So this could just be saying as well that this is a good time to talk, communicate, get what you have to say out there. And given that this is the natural ruler of the 5th house too, obviously we're going to spend a lot of time with Libra energy in October. So it could be pointing to that as well. Could just be saying good time to talk around romance, creativity, things along those lines. All right, moving on to your oracle cards. First we have Message in a Bottle. There's the artwork, and the number is 15. Okay, it says communication, a sign, a Clayton, the ancient name for a spontaneous oracle delivered innocently by the speaker, pointing the way to your highest good. The oracle's message. Spirit sends you signs when you ask for them, when you believe you will receive them, and when you allow yourself to become fluent in the language of symbols, oracles, and omens. They may come to you as a bird flying by, a logo on a truck, and a song on the radio. Expect confirmation that you're pointed in the right direction. Keep your ears open, for someone might say just the right thing that will give you the answer to your query. Today, your message is this: Spirit hears you, and the reply is favorable. So definitely an interesting message there, and when I was reading that made me think of a couple of things. One, the Eight of Swords, where, like I said, if we think about the fact that she has the blindfold on, could just be saying to try to be mindful, be aware of your surroundings, because you might see some signs and synchronicities that could lead you in the right direction, which also makes me think of the Star card, right? So try to just be open to things you see, what you hear, just try to stay alert this month. which would make sense too with a Mercury retrograde in Scorpio, right? That's a bit of a deep energy, so might get things that come through in more, well, in more subtle ways, I would say, but keep an eye out for that. All right. The relationship message says you can expect someone to favor you with positive news. This could be in the form of a letter, phone call, or email. You are the intended receiver of this message, so stay open to what you learn. Only good will come of it in the end. The signs are all there. So another positive message there too, and then that makes me think of possibly, like I was saying, if this represents your energy with that Four of Cups. Again, if you do have some messages coming your way, right? Again, you might get in that mode of overthinking it, right? I feel like it's saying to try to be a bit more open, a bit more receptive this month, and things will go your way. And I mean, of course, we are talking about a Mercury retrograde, so for example, someone from your past might come back around, and I feel like that's saying, just try to give them a chance, and things might actually go well. So, something to keep in mind there. Not always something you hear on Mercury retrograde, but hopefully that resonates. And then the prosperity message says you are on target with your purpose and your passion. You are coming into alignment with your destiny, and Spirit wants you to know that you're on the right track. Expect a call, a new opportunity, or a message from an old friend or business contact that will lead you closer to your dreams and your greatest desires. Spirit has been listening to you. So definitely a good message there too. I know I did see this as a lot more of like a relationship thing and also just internal, but we did mention somewhat the possibility of it being related to career as well. So hopefully that resonates for you guys, where it says, you might hear from someone from the past. So something to keep in mind there. And the next card we have is Cow Spirit. It says the miracles are endless. There's the artwork, and the number on this one's also 15. So interesting there. Both of these cards 15. We'll see what that has to say. Okay. It says you are at a beautiful point in your life today, for your needs are being met effortlessly and in so many ways. Fully embrace this truth by focusing on all you have right now, including the positive relationships that sustain you, the work you are proud to do to contribute to the world, and the activities that inspire you and nourish your soul. Cow Spirit nudges you to pay attention because this is the perfect time to focus on the choices, actions, and behaviors that feed your soul and bring your heart contentment. Now is also the time when you will see many of your projects and commitments that were set in motion in the past begin to yield valuable gifts that will bring you joy and love and sustain you for a long time to come. Stay positive and share your well-being with others. The more you share, the more will manifest, so be generous. Cow Spirit promises you will never run out of miracles. So definitely an interesting message there. Made me think of what we were saying as far as the fifth house energy, right? Where you can have a lot of Libra energy, which for you guys is your fifth house, could also point to creativity and romance. But yeah, there's that. And then that also made me think of the star card as well, talking about, never running out of miracles, right? And as far as we see that giving and receiving cycle with the star card, right? Where what I say to people sometimes when I see the star card is it reminds me that you might ask yourself on the surface, well, why is she pouring water into that source where there's clearly already water there, right? And to me, it embodies that Aquarius energy, right? Where we talk about Aquarian energy as being humanitarian, which is to say, there's an understanding that if you just take and take and take, eventually there'll be nothing left, right? So there's that understanding that, okay, you need to give back as well. So that's what this card points to me for certain situations. So hopefully that resonated for you. And lastly, we have a Mudra card. So the Mudra you guys got for this month is the Anjali Mudra. And the keyword for it is reverence. There it is there. And there's the info on it if you want to pause it or take a screenshot to read what it has to say. But under benefits, it says calming and centering, facilitates connection to the heart and central channel, evokes feelings of humility, reverence, and devotion. So that sounds like something you think would be beneficial for you guys. I will put the name of the Mudra in the description video as always. We'll wrap up there, and I'll see you guys next month. All right, bye.